now.
Hello, internets.
Greetings.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to another episode of Code with Shad.
Featuring Sachi and Rickles.
That's right.
And Rickles.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that's me.
That was a cool edit, though.
All right. So, Satch, why don't you inform the stream what we're up to today?
Okay. Listen here, stream. Today, we're going to learn how to create a bookshelf in our awesome app called Livre Journal. And in the bookshelf, we can have any category of books we could ever hope to dream of. Including... Sorry, what's Nuwako saying?
She says so echoey. Yeah.
Oh, no.
It's okay. I think it's fixed right now. That might be in a slightly older chat. Is it fixed now, Nuwako?
Testing. Am I echoing? Because my name is Sachi and I love to sing.
Okay.
But is it echoey? I need to know the answers.
Okay, keep going. Nuwako will reply.
Okay, yes. So, categories / bookshelves could include your list of books that you wish to read, aka your TBR, to be read. Or it could be genres of books that you like. Thrillers, mysteries, contemporary, you name it. It's happening here. Today, right now. Get excited.
Yes, let's get real excited about it. So I had said to Satch that we're basically using tags, and she's like, what tags? I just want bookshelves. I'm like, okay, sounds good. Bookshelves is what we'll do. I love the energy. I love the excitement. This is going to be great.
I'm excited.
Okay, so bookshelves, yeah. Let's talk through how it's going to work, yeah?
Yeah.
So can a book be on more than one bookshelf? Because in the real world, you can't.
This is why things are on the non-real world. So, so your imagination is endless and it translates into the Livre Journal. So yes, like TBR, let's say you want to categorize things into genres and books you want to read, then you can put, a book in your TBR. And if it's a thriller, you can also put it in your thriller list, etc.
Okay. Yeah, so that's why I suggested that we could do this with tags, because essentially, the gist of this is that we can use tags to represent what bookshelves a book is in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay. Let's do this. I want to create. I want your faces in the screen. So I'm just gonna move this window over here, and let's head on over to our database, because that's where we're gonna store whether or not, like, what shelf things are gonna live on. So here's the idea. We need to model. We need to figure out how we're going to model this bookshelf. Yeah? And what does that mean to you? Just like, I need to understand if what I'm saying means anything to you. So what does that mean to you?
Visually what it will look like?
When I say that we need to model the data, what does that mean to you? And a valid answer is, you can tell me that it means nothing to you, in which case I'll try to explain it better.
Well, modeling the data in, like, data science, isn't that kind of showing you all the data in a visual graph or something like that?
I see. Yeah, that's one way to interpret it.
And then in this particular thing, I just imagined... Well, I just don't know. No, I don't know.
Okay. So let's go to here is, by the way, is everything like not blurry for you when you're viewing it in Discord?
Yeah, it doesn't look blurry to me.
It does not look blurry to you?
No, it does not look blurry.
Okay, cool. All right, let me see here. Why is
Can you put the stream on the TV?
Yeah.
Okay. So when I say that we need to model the data, what I mean is we need a way to represent in our database what set of bookshelves a given book is in, right? Because in order to show the various shelves in our app, we need a way to know which books are on that shelf. And in order to do that, we need to store that somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I mean by we need to model it. So let's take a look-see. Here is my two books, Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn, right? So one way that we could model this is we could create a collection of shelves, for example, and then inside of each shelf we can put a set of books. Another way we could do it is we could say each book has a set of shelves that it's on. And then we would filter the set of books by which shelf they're on.
Yeah. But can you do both, or would it be one or the other?
We would want to only do it one way. That's a good question. The reason why you only want to do it one way is the idea of there being only a single source of truth. Because if you did it two ways, then you would need to make sure that both ways of representing it are kept in sync somehow. And that's an added level of complexity. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So ideally what you want is to pick, you want to do something that is, yeah. Okay.
Okay. I prefer the first way because it seems more organized.
Mm-hmm.
Like easier to find what you might be looking for.
Mm-hmm. So that's a good point. But here's a small little hiccup, which is that the first way has the issue that it's actually a lot more work.
I see.
Yeah, so because our data is already organized as entries, and we could create a collection. So right now, if you're seeing the stream, right, you see we have users, and here is each user. And for a given user, we have their entries. An entry, of course, is a book entry, right? It's the journal representation of the book. Yeah, here's where you gave it a rating and all this other stuff, right? But in a sense, right, there is this other notion of just books that you want to read, right? So we need a way to represent the books that you want to read. We need a way to represent your ratings of that book. And we also need a way to put those books onto a shelf, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the second way you were saying is that each book would have a tag. And so, can you explain that one again?
So here's the idea. Let's say that we have. So this is a review of a book. So it sounds like we might need just a model for books. Question for you. So the way Goodreads works is there is a central database of all books, right? And And that is separate from the individual ratings that people give to each book, right? So if we put a book on a shelf, do we want that book to be, I guess that book would be referenced, right, from the shelf, saying this book is on the shelf here, and then we can pull those books in. Yeah, the database that we're using for this isn't the ideal setup for it. But let's see. So, because we have these top level collections, maybe we need a new collection of books, and then you can put a book on your shelf. What do you think? Okay. So we could start a collection called Books, right? Document ID. And now in order to create a book, we need at least one book. So we can identify books uniquely, either by their auto ID, which will be a generated ID, or we could like use some other thing like ISBN or something like that. Let's go with the auto ID for now. We can add an ISBN, but we will have a name field. And so that will be like Huckleberry Finn. And we'll have an author, right? We need because we're making a representation of this, right? And we need the author of Huckleberry Finn. Who's that again?
Mark? I do not know.
Oh, I think it's Mark Twain. And then one more field. This is good enough. All right. So auto ID, save. And now we have a book, Mark Twain. And Huckleberry. The name of the book is Huckleberry Finn. Yep.
So this is a collection.
Yeah, a collection of books. So we can add another book.
What's your collection going to be about?
This particular collection, this is just all the books that exist.
Oh, that's a lot of books.
Yeah. So what's a book you're reading, Satch?
I'm reading The Picture of Dorian Gray. I forgot who wrote that just right now.
The Picture of Dorian Gray?
Yeah. R-A-Y. I'm not sure if you wrote. Oh yeah. I should know the author, but
it's Oscar Wilde?
Oh yeah.
Oscar Wilde. I think there's an E at the end.
Yeah.
Actually, instead of name, this should probably be title.
Yeah.
Let's fix my other one. This should be... Oh, not allowed to. Let's add a new field. Title. Let's make it Tom Sawyer this time. Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. Okay. So we got 2 books. And this is our book database. And you can have books on your shelf. Right? So a given user, here's my user, has an entry. And we should have a shelf. We can have... let's do a want to read.
Yeah.
So we should have like shelves. Yeah. And then okay. And now we need a shelf.
Yes.
And then this one will be the name of the shelf, which is want to read. I'm not sure if this is a good idea. This might be a very bad idea.
Why do you say that?
Oh yeah, this is a bad idea. Delete. I think what we have is shelves. Delete collection. Oh, hold on. We need to think a little bit more. So okay. I can start a collection right here. So this is the first shelf. Oh, okay. How about this? Let's rename. Okay, delete collection. Shelves. Or better yet, no. Add a document. So now we need a shelf. Let's make the shelf.
You want to read one?
Yeah. Hold on. What does the document ID have to be? Okay. So this is my want to read. Save. Okay. And in my want to read, I can add a book. So I currently want to read Pictures of Dorian Gray.
Yeah, the picture of.
Picture of? Is it a singular?
Yeah, yeah. It's like he gets painted.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Is that the story about the heart and his picture getting... Is like a horror or something? Or am I thinking of something else?
I don't think so. I don't think that's the right one.
Okay.
This one is about, just this. I can't even explain it because there's no real plot yet. I'm like a quarter in the book.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here is a want to read shelf. Oh, I made a mistake. Want to read.
So why don't you explain what you're pondering?
So what I'm pondering is, what I'm pondering is how, okay. So in Firebase, right, you can have a collection, and then a collection has individual entries, and an entry can have a field or a sub-collection, right? And this is the structure that we're dealing with. So what I'm thinking, and then this is recursive, right? So you can have entries, and an entry can have a document like this, and a document can have fields or more collections.
Oh my gosh, it's never ending.
It's never ending. It'll just keep going to the right. It's kind of like folders and files, in a sense. And so what we're trying to do here is come up with a pattern that we can use to represent shelves.
So can you just go from biggest to smallest?
So here's the idea. A given user, every user has their own set of shelves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So every user can put whatever book they want onto their want to read shelf. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So here we have a document. This is the user, and then we have a shelves collection. And so in this, we can have a set of documents. So we have to decide what document we're going to use to represent things. So for example, on the shelf, we may have multiple books, and maybe inside those books, we can have a reference to what shelf it belongs to, right?
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, there's this other idea. We have these entries, and one of the things that is a little bit interesting to me is that an entry isn't specifically about a book, but in some sense, like, you can put a tag on an entry and that will decide where it would show up. Like, if you can make an entry show up on a shelf instead of a book. So that might be a lot easier to build. Whereas this shelf thing, we're going to need to have a reference to books. And then we're going to have a relatively complex thing going on. So I'm trying to like figure out what the model is, basically. What is the thing that we can do that will be easy for us to achieve something on stream and to build in real time. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm pondering. That's what I'm trying to sort out in my head. So.
But in the actual app,
Yes.
Maybe you can think about how it would look on the app and then work backwards.
Yeah, that's all. That is often a good idea. So here we have our main app, and then on the landing page, we have our journal entries. So what do we want to put on here? Gesundheit.
Thank you. Is there a way to make this home page be the shelf page?
Mm-hmm.
And then have Huck Finn and Tom Sawyer be a part of one of your... Well, let's say people don't want to make a category, then they could have this. But then if they do, then they can also put those into categories. And then when you click on those categories, they come to the next page of Huck Finn and Tom Sawyer.
Mm-hmm.
How would that look on the Firespace?
Yeah. Okay. So these are current. This is currently a list of the users' reviews, right? So when you click on this, you can see Huckleberry Finn's review, right? And then when you click Tom Sawyer, you can see Tom Sawyer's review. So if we're doing some shelves, let's think about it a bit. Yeah. So we can have like want to read, and then we can have read, and the books that are read are the ones that I guess you could write a review about. And then maybe you should be able to add entries to different shelves. Like, you maybe, if you want to say you want to read something, then that means you're going to create a book essentially that you want to read, right?
Create a book?
Yeah, you need to specify a book that you're going to want to read, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but there will be multiple books there, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's try that. So, hey Charlie.
Charlie's here.
Hello.
Hey yo. Okay. So let's start then. Okay, so then the first question is, do people create their own books, or do they pull their books from a database of existing books?
I think pulling from a database.
Yeah, but that means like someone will have to maintain it, huh?
What, like for Goodreads, it's like an ISBN database or something.
Yeah. So Goodreads also happens to be a store that they're tied to the Kindle store. So they have an advantage that they already have a database of books. It is the books that they sell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So all the books though in existence.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I think so. Goodreads does have a larger database than what they sell, because there are books that exist on Goodreads that aren't being sold anymore. So they have essentially an inventory of books that is historical in nature. It includes all books that were ever sold and potentially even more books than that, right? So here is my proposal for simplicity's sake, and we can think about, we can restructure the database later. My suggestion is actually we don't try to represent the shelf and the books as separate objects. What we'll do is we'll use entries to represent the books we want to read as well as the books that we've read, and it will just be a toggle or something. If you haven't read it yet, then there will be a value on the entry saying it hasn't been read yet, and it will show up on a different shelf, or something like that. I think that will make it simpler. It may not be as clean because we don't have a database of books, but I guess the argument here is we don't have a database of books anyway. Yeah.
How do we get such a thing?
How do we get such a thing? Oh, that is a very hard question. I don't know that there's a good way to get it.
Basically, they exist. And how do you get access to the database?
Yeah, so I think that's the main problem. Okay. Let's start with this. Okay, so let's have a field. Let's have a field here that is an array. And this array represents what shelf the entry is on. Well, here's the thing. If we do it this way, then it means that that potentially you can. So here's the thing, right? If a book can be on more than one shelf at once, there are situations even in the digital world where that doesn't make sense. Like want to read versus read. You don't want the book to be on both your want to read and your read shelf at the same time, right?
That's true, but that also means that we would know what categories users are creating, like what parameters their categories are entailing.
So in some sense, we have different kinds of shelves, right? The book in some shelves are mutually exclusive, and some shelves are not. So let's just start with want to read and read. Let's just do that. So we'll just have a read field, or maybe an is read field. Is read. And this will be either true or false. And if you're true, then you end up with a read check mark.
Check mark.
You've
I
read
love
it.
those check marks.
So how does that sound?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, let's make the red. I'm wondering if it should be is read or just read.
I think just read.
Just read? You got it. Read. Boolean. True. Okay, so right now we're saying that Huckleberry Finn is read, and Tom Sawyer doesn't have the value. So what we'll do is we'll say that if it doesn't have a value, then it's not read. How about that?
Yeah.
All right.
True.
Okay. So this is what I meant, by the way, when we were talking about data modeling. This is the idea. Like, we need to find a way to represent the various things we're trying to encode into our database. And it's complicated, unfortunately, because it depends so much on what you want to achieve. Okay, but I think we're ready to try and do this. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So let's go. Let's try and do it.
So you have. And are you going to send us a?
Not sure.
Oh,
Live
thank
stream?
you. I forgot. I'm such a bad friend.
Back.
Okay.
Golly.
We have a Christmas-themed Discord sound effects.
I love it.
You love it.
I love it. It
Christmas
sounds just like my door.
Oh, really?
which has a bell on it.
Really? A real bell or a
Not a
digital
real
bell?
bell. Neither, actually. A Christmas bell from the dollar store. Oh my.
Oh, Jesse's joined. Hey, Jesse. Welcome to
Hey,
the stream.
Jesse.
Hello.
Welcome. Welcome in.
Hey, Jesse. Thanks for sorting out all of the the names of things in our Discord. I really love it. I think motherboard and bits and bytes. It just sounds cool.
Yeah. It's very
I thought it
creative.
was very shad. So
You've embodied all of the things that I love in life. Thank you. Into the names of channels. Love it. Okay, I sent you the link. Join when you can. Are you in, Satch?
Not yet.
Okay.
It always opens up on the on the browser. Yes, I'm joining soon.
You are? Okay.
Yeah.
I see you. There you are. So let's go to our reviews. So here is the reviews, and we have access to the entries here, and each entry shows up in here, right? Now, what we want to do is split the entries up. We want to have our want to read, and we want to have our read section. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So right now this is showing just all the entries, and we want to split them up, yeah? So what we're going to do is basically, as you saw when we did it here, I added a red true for Huckleberry Finn. So Huckleberry Finn now has that value. And the other one, Tom Sawyer, has no value. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So if you recall, when we were doing arrays back in the JavaScript crash course, we had the opportunity to filter the array for something, right? So we can do that here. So this entries is currently an array, and the entries can be filtered for the ones that are red, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's do that. Let me pull up some helpful documentation for you, and then we can do it together. So we need JavaScript array filter. Here's some documentation. I'm gonna give you the link that I found. Let me see. Yeah, this documentation looks good. So here's the documentation. Feel free to open it up on your side. And let me try and see if I can keep you in the video while at the same time having the documentation on stream.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that seems to work. Okay, so Word. Do you remember we even did it with words? So so this is ideal. So we want to do filter, and filter takes a function, an arrow function, and this arrow function is going to apply the filter we care about. Right?
Yeah.
So now looking over at our code on the side here, we already have, we're calling map, and then we're passing it the entry, and then we do this thing to the entry to display a review. So before we do this map to display the review, we need to filter the entries for want to read, or is for red equal to false. Okay? Now, in order to do that, we have these entry.id, and we have entry.content, and we have entry.date. These fields on entry come from the fields that we made here. So we will be able to refer to it as entry dot. You want to guess?
Yeah.
Sorry, did I catch you off
Red?
guard? Yes, you got it.
Yeah.
Entry.red. Yes, correct. Okay. So is what I'm asking you to do sort of making sense? Why is this thing here? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so entries is like the word list that we did in our crash course, right?
Mm-hmm.
We want to filter it for those entries where entry.red is false, because we want to make the want to read section. Sound good? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, do it.
Oh, crap. Jesse's in here.
Oh, Jesse wants to help. Okay.
Jesse, help. Okay. So you want something.
Tell me what you're thinking. I will definitely guide you through it. Don't worry.
Oh, man. Okay. So, right now we're doing the entries of the red section category.
Yep.
And would it be something equal to a date like this? Would it be in the same, but it wouldn't be a part of the review.
Correct.
So it would be a different entry.
Yep.
Oh,
So
boy.
I'll help you. So this entries is an array, right? That's similar to the words here. And now we want to do a filter on it. So you can do exactly like you did it here, right? So you can start by adding a filter right there.
Right here. Oh, wait, can you show me again?
So here's the filter, right? And this is how you filter. This particular filter is filtering for words where the word length is greater than 6. And what we're going to do is filter the entries where the entry red is equal to true. That's what we're doing. It's very similar.
Okay. So, would we change, but it would be similar to this and a part of this. Would we change this? Or would we add to it?
Add to it. And you want to add it right here where I put the cursor.
Which is here?
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Dot
Red.
filter. Remember, this is what we're doing here. Like this. Dot filter. Open parentheses. Yeah.
But it wouldn't be word. Know that for sure.
Yep. So ours is going to be an entry. It's going to look very similar to this one here, but you're going to have a filter. What happened to the map? Looks like you accidentally deleted it. We still need that.
Oh.
All that stuff needs to be the same. Yeah. So first you filter, then you map. Okay. So we're adding this filter in. So so at your filter here, add parentheses.
Okay.
Parens. Yep.
Friends.
Yep. Next, inside the now you're going to have a very similar thing because it's going to match the map, but now it's for a filter. So here we need an entry with an arrow.
Oh, but would the entry be like books or something?
So here
It's still entry because you have to change it.
you can change it to book if you want, but in this case here we're reusing our for the simplicity of the coding, we're reusing the book entry, right? Your Livre journal entry. We're not creating a separate database of books right now. So I'm reusing the entry semantic of our database to also represent the books that we're going to read, just for the purposes of making this thing simpler. In the future, we might change the model to be more complex and maybe make it so that like trusted people using our app can create books that everyone can use, can reference in their entries. You know what I mean? But here, we're just going to make it so that everybody owns their own entries. They can create whatever book they want. It only belongs to them.
Okay. So I'll write entry now.
Yeah,
And then would it be the arrow again?
correct.
The, what's it called again? The had a funny name.
So we're filtering for the state where entry is red.
Would I put red now?
Entry dot red, yes. Yep, like that. Okay.
Is that the end?
All right, let's see if it works. So save it
Save.
and check it out. It's now filtered, so it's now showing only Huckleberry Finn.
Because you read it and you didn't read Tom Sawyer.
Correct.
Suppose.
Yep.
Ugh.
So now what we need to do is we need to have like a little subtitle in here to say what we have read and what we want to read. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
In the UI. So we need to build this little piece in. So let's go to MUI and lists.
Oh yeah, they changed their
name.
their name.
But for the most part, things kind of look the same. We can also go to V4, V5, or whatever the old version is. How do I get there? I need to go back in time. We'll be back in time. Okay. We got some components, and we need a list, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's lists. Okay, here's how we do lists. And if we scroll through it, check it out. There is this nice way to do a sort of like mini header, which is I think would be ideal for separating our read from our want to read. You know what I mean? Let me see if there's other examples. Here's some other fun lists. List controls. Yeah, here's another one with settings at the top. Sublist, subheader list. Oh, that's for if it's pinned. That might be useful to have, actually. Okay. So we basically need a subheader. So settings is a subheader here. And here is the subheader. I see. So the subheader is provided like this. Are you sort of seeing what I'm seeing? Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh no, I lost it. Where did it go? Okay. So here's where the subheader is. It's part of the list. And then you have list items. What about if you have more than one subheader? How does that look? So here's an example of more than one subheader. Ooh, there's a list subheader itself that we can use. Nice. We're going to use this one. Okay. So let me send you this link. Or actually, I'm going to just help you out. I'm going to copy paste this for you, and then we'll do it together. So we're going to come down here. So the list subheader is a child of the list item, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's going to go right here. All right, I'm going to import. Okay, so now you can put your own text here. This is for the entries that are read.
So the green, I would change the green area.
You would change everything I've selected, so including the curly braces, because remember, the curly braces take you out of JSX and take you into JavaScript.
Right.
Oh. Okay.
In fact, that's what's happening here, right? These curly braces hop out of JSX and let you start writing JavaScript, and that's why we're writing code like this. And then all of a sudden here we jump back into JSX.
Oh, cool.
Cool.
That's so funny.
Indeed.
It's like a black hole of code. Okay, so I delete. Okay, so what we're doing is we're making it our red category,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
So where I just type in red, then,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
like so.
Yep.
It looks terribly boring now.
Okay. Save it and let's see if it
compared to
works.
before. Okay. Saved.
Look, there it is. Red.
Ooh.
Now we
So
need,
fancy.
isn't it? Yeah, it's great. So this is what's red. Now we need a want to read. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Where do you want the want to read above red or after red?
Oh. After. What do you think?
What do I
I
think?
think after. Because you'd want to go to your red things first. Because that's the ones you're editing more.
Let's see. What does the audience want?
Yes, tell us, audience member.
Yeah, jump in with some opinions.
Yeah.
Oh, I
What are
love
your-
looking at my unread first. But that's
Okay.
just me.
All right.
Because
So
you'll have ideally less unread than read, right?
You have less unread than read?
Right. Because you read a lot of books and you want to read a couple, and then you'll want to look at those. But that's just how I use Goodreads. So
Interesting. Is Charlie here? Do you have an opinion, Charlie?
I like unread first because I want to know what's new.
There you go. The poll is in.
that was awesome.
That was awesome.
Okay. All right, we're doing want to read then. How do you think you'll do that?
Very similar to this. I guess it would be like these lines without these things. No. Or would it be the same exact thing? But this is just unread.
Mm-hmm. That's yeah, the second one. Let's
Yeah.
let's give Rickles a try. He's been quiet the entire stream. I don't want to have
you
him
didn't
get
even-
ignored.
You
Rickles,
didn't even rap or anything.
My rapping skills pain.
Done. I have to show you these candies when you come. They're so yummy.
oh, I'm excited. Ooh, it's upside down.
They're Japanese.
So
Oh, Niwako, do you know that brand? Pucho? It looks like Pucho.
I tore off many wrappers. There's actually 3 here. And I just put them all together.
Oh my goodness. You've got like what's that, the Russian doll thing called?
Yeah, I think they're just Russian dolls.
Centipede. Human centipede. The word you're looking for is
No.
human centipede.
No, stop.
that's
Stop.
not the word.
This is your band.
Or-
Okay. Back to the important bit. So what you want to do, Rickles, is this is the bit we need to replicate.
Right. Because we need to make a completely other set of entries to list.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take that.
Remember that we have to put it... Oh, yeah, Niwako doesn't know the brand.
Oh, that's awesome because she gets to have some and then she will also love it. They have like little like not like not kind of like bubble tea bubble things,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not exactly like that. They're more hard candy like things.
I'm excited, actually, to come to Toronto and eat so much good food. Oh,
That's all we're gonna do, by the way.
yeah. I'm currently...
When
Most
you
of my
come, let me
friends
know.
like-
I want to see you too.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll do some streams as well.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we'll meet up without Sachi and Richard.
Okay.
my God.
If you want to.
Oh my goodness.
I'm afraid of what we've started here.
I want to go out. I want to go out
We
for
could
dinner with all the Canadian folks. That will be nice. Or I mean, if you're not Canadian and just happen to be in Toronto, that's all right as well.
We have to organize things.
Okay, so what do you got here, Rickles? Talk to me.
So I created another list subheader for unread,
Okay.
and it's just copying the same list of entries here. But I'm wondering if it would work in this way because everything name.
All
So
right.
that
We'll just save it and see. Like, we're on a computer. Computer can run it. We'll see if it works. We don't need to. You don't need my opinion.
Okay, do the thing, computer, save.
Think for us.
Okay, so there is unread. So one problem is you didn't satisfy the requirements of the audience. Unread should be at the top.
Oh man, they're gonna riot, Rich.
Oh no.
Wait, I don't know if you
Not
can
the
do that.
riots.
I wonder if you can do this.
Okay. All right, so far so good. Now you just need the unread section to display the items that are not read. How did you do that?
Entries filter. Is there an unread command?
There is a not, if you remember from our logic.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Well, that's
Ooh.
pretty close. So you actually
Oh,
want
man.
this to be here.
Okay.
But I'm very impressed with you.
Because you remembered, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was the exclamation point the whole time.
All right, there. You got it working. Good job. So we have our unread list, and we have our read list. It's beautiful. It's truly wonderful. Good job.
Yay.
Nice.
Yeah, clap, 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 clap. Good job. The sound of one hand clapping. This is my favorite Simpsons joke.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's a deep cut.
Okay. Let's see if there's any other things we want to do. So there's a lot of useful, fun things inside of the list API. So for example, you can put like little icons next to things. You can, like this, for example.
Ooh, maybe like. Oh, but we can't create icons, can we?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Like read could be a closed book and unread could be an open book.
Yeah, for example, that's sort of the idea I was thinking. Here's another example, So if you wanted to, we could try to identify the read versus the unread via something like this. Another idea would be, I don't know. It's probably fine the way it is, I guess. But if you had some ideas, we could continue to do things. But the next thing we need to be able to do is make it so that you can mark a book as read. What do you think?
Yeah, like a check mark of some kind.
Yeah. And if the check, like you can only fill out the journal entry once you've read it.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Let's make rules for people to follow.
Yeah, okay. So, because like right now, if you click this, it still takes you to this page. And it's already ready to be, like, it's even got a partial review in there, right? So we should fix this. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
But what if you've only read half of something and you are like me and you don't want to make it complete? I mean, you don't want to mark it as read, but you still want to have some, you know what I mean? Like books you've given up on, for example.
That's a really good point. Yeah. Okay. So then we shouldn't. So that means you should be allowed to fill out a thing even if you haven't read it. But in some sense, read is the wrong name for the variable, because really, if you're done with it, it means you're not going to read it anymore. In a sense, like we were treating not read as want to read. right? And maybe we shouldn't say unread here. Maybe we should say want to read. Yeah? Or
Yeah.
want to read with like this. So that's want to read versus, and it maybe instead of read, maybe instead of like you either want to read it or you're done with it. So instead of saying read and unread, we'll say want to read and done. And now the flag about whether or not, so we have the word read right now in the back in the back end, but it essentially means you either still want to read it or you're done reading it. You're done with it. Like, I'm over that sort of deal. So you don't have to have finished reading it to be done with it. Or we can have yet another variable for that.
I give up as your category.
Yeah.
Well, in terms of like, say we want to organize it, like in multiple ways, like to move it up or down. I think maybe wouldn't it work better to have it as like read or not read or want to read or wants?
Yeah, I think people are more likely to have the read books anyway rather than a whole category of their failures.
Well, I was looking through, what was it? I think it was on, Goodreads recently prompted me. It said, I think this was last year, actually, so not recently. It prompted me, though. It said, hey, you've done well this year. You read all these books. And by the way, here are some books that you started but never finished. But you read more than 50%. Do you want to just mark them as done? And I was like, yes.
Satisfied.
Yeah. Life's too
short to
Yeah.
finish books you're not interested in or whatever the saying is.
Yeah. Even if you wanted to be a completionist and read every book that was ever written, there's not enough time in your life to do it. So I think it's totally okay to call it quits if the book doesn't speak to you.
Yeah, man. I finished East of Eden because it was like this classic or whatnot, but I hated it like, and it was like 500 pages. I just hated it from like 100 to 500. But I was like, everyone loves it. I have to finish it. I regret every moment.
All right.
But yeah, I feel like it should be read instead of done.
Okay. All right. So now that we've established that, how is this going to work then? Do you want to be able to start reviewing before you're done?
Yeah. I feel like that would be, I feel like if it were a popular app, for example, and people were like making reviews, I feel like they'd complain like, I can't even edit how I feel about this book and I haven't finished it yet.
All right. Okay. So let's do this piece then, yeah?
You guys agree with me? I need to know the answer.
Who are you looking for validation from? Me and Rickles or the audience?
Everybody, audience and Rickles and Dunn.
Well, I'm your brother. I will always agree with whatever you say. So.
And I'm Sasha's partner, so I will also
Boo!
everything.
Oh,
Boo, what is this? Boo! What is this? What is it? Like warm, fuzzy feelings. Boo, get out of here.
Okay, Charlie, you're tiebreaker.
Yeah, you always disagree with me, so let's have it then.
I want to be able to edit things before I finish the book because then I can keep checking what I felt about it and make edits as I go.
Mm-hmm.
Something like Game of Thrones. I hear people would have rated it really high until the last episode, and then it went down the drain, right?
That's true. That's very true.
Okay.
So
I didn't watch Game of Thrones, though.
I also didn't watch Game of Thrones. It's on my
Yes.
to-do
Oh,
list of
man.
Well,
things.
Charlie knows everything about it.
Charlie, instead of watching the episodes, would look up synopses for each one.
No, I don't look up synopsis. I look up the most, what is it, damaging spoilers, and I just say it to people.
Oh my god, you devil man.
He's like the spoiler assassin.
Yeah, like my dad. Bam, this person dies, runs away. Sheesh.
Okay, I'm getting hungry, so let's just build this feature, yeah?
Okay, do it.
All
We
right.
have 1 minute to go.
Yeah, go. So what are we doing? We're pulling the value out of the database, and it's basically the exact same thing as everything else we've written, except it's a Boolean instead of a number or a string. So I'll guide you to start typing, but if you know what to type, just type.
I'm sure const is part of it.
There you go. All right. What are we going to call it?
Wait, what is this?
This is whether we've read it or not.
Oh,
or
nice.
or our done variable. Go ahead, type something.
Complete or incomplete.
Let's go with the same word we used in the database. Let's use read and so it's
Well, unread is first chronologically. That's why I'm putting it first.
So we only have one variable. It's called read. Okay?
Oh.
So the unread is when the read variable is false.
Right.
Okay.
Very true. Gotcha.
So
Equals use state.
so remember, you're just doing everything exactly the same as these guys. So you have a variable and you have something to set it.
Oh, yes. Like so?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So this
Not
is
that
this,
I really know it. Yes.
so sorry. What did you say?
I'm not sure. I don't know what the use state 0.
What it means? Okay.
Yeah.
So use state is a thing in React that lets you keep some state. And the reason why we need to keep state is because the state is what drives the controls in the app. Okay, so we have all of these things here, and each one of these is controlling what the value of characters is, what the value of writing is, and so on. Now, the thing that goes in the parentheses so use state is just a function, right? It's a function like other JavaScript functions we've seen before. The parameter it takes is the argument is the default value. Okay. So in this case here, we're saying use state, and for content, which was what is basically what our review was, we passed it the empty string. So the default review is empty string. And then the default value for all of the different ratings was 0 stars, which I think represents no value or something. For read versus not read, this is going to be a Boolean. So it's not a number, it's not a string. It's going to be either true or false. And I think the default state of read should be false. So set it. Do that.
I can do it. False.
False.
Bam.
Okay, next. So now we have this use effect. What this part here is doing is, so this is a harking back to the days when we were talking about asynchronous, if you recall. So this code here is the default values the moment the app loads. But the moment the app loads, we also send off a message to the Firestore database, and we say, retrieve this entry's data. But that takes time, because it goes over the network, and it takes time for it to retrieve it and come back. And when it does come back, it triggers this use effect, which causes the data inside the app to update with the most recent data from Firebase. Does that make sense?
That's what use effect does?
That's what use effect does in this case. Use effect is a thing is a React hook that we use to sort of trigger a re-render of the app page when a specific dependency changes. And that's a lot of words. Let me explain it very simply. There is this thing called entry. That entry is the object that loads from the server. Initially, the entry is going to it's going to have a default value, okay? But the moment that the Firebase returns the value from the server, we will then have a new value of entry. And so what useEffect does, it says, watch this entry variable. And the moment it gets updated from the server, run the code in here.
Okay, so that's like that's like all the time then, like continuously.
Continuously, yes. And that's what causes, so it's this bit of code here that causes this fun thing to happen. So check it out. So we have, I lost you guys. One sec. Okay. So here's Tom Sawyer, right? And then we can go to Tom Sawyer here, and check this out. I can change the writing rating to 4, and watch this. See, writing updates immediately. The reason why this is happening is for a couple of reasons, but one of them is that entry changed, and it got updated from the server via Firebase client, which triggered this use effect, which ultimately called set writing rating, which then updated the writing rating variable here, which then updated the UI. Make sense? Okay. So we need to do the same thing for our red variable. So do that here, Satch.
Oh man, yes.
You're basically
yeah,
copying.
right.
You're copying similar things from above.
Ooh, gosh. But it's not a rating, so
Correct. It's different from a rating.
this is a question mark.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, but
I'll talk about the question mark at some point. But for now, you can just write it similarly to how the other entries are written in.
what would I put after this? Red?
Yes.
Set red.
No, you were right, Zach. Red.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I love being right for which is right. And then these lines here, that's a thing.
Mhm. Okay. I think we need to come back and clean up this code. I don't think that that these ors here are strictly necessary, but we should come back and check. But here's the idea. If there is no value of red, then, like, if the entry comes back and the entry doesn't have a value for red, then this allows you to use the thing on the right side instead. This is similar to how we had a default value for false. A default value for a default value for red in the state information up here. We set it to false. Here we can do the same thing. We want to say whatever value we get back from the server, if it has no value, we want to use the value false. So change the 0 to a false.
Oh. Classic 0.
Okay, perfect. And now, last but not least, we need to add a control for whether or not you've read it. So where do you want the control to live?
I guess. Well, because it comes at the end of these lists, I want it to come at the end of this section.
I see. Fair enough. But we can
But
also change the order. It doesn't have to come at the end of this list. That's just where we put it. We can move it around if you prefer. Like,
Okay, then.
ultimately, you're doing this for the user, so where do you want the button to live?
Oh, for if it's red, then at the bottom, actually, of the page.
The bottom of the page. Okay, let's go. So we need...
Actually, maybe it should be at the top of the page. Okay, you guys,
There's
top
also a
or bottom?
snowman. There's also a snowman there we can use.
Oh yeah, maybe we could put it in the snowman.
No, that would be a bad user experience. Don't do that.
I think it should be either top right or bottom. No, bottom right is edit, so it should be top right. That way you can just go into it, click red, and then leave.
In the interest of finishing it sooner rather than later, we're not going to try and position it arbitrary on the screen. We'll just in order of what we already have. So you can either put it at the top or the bottom.
Okay, bottom then.
Bottom, okay. So here is how you make a control. And these are basic switches. Switch with form control label. That looks good to me. Let's do some copy paste. No idea why it has to be right. Right. I think we want this one. We do need this on change, so I think we want we may want this one. They don't necessarily make this easy for beginners. You have to pick from this set, but basically we're going to try and get primary. Okay. And then primary is this one here.
Oh.
Okay. So I'm going to copy paste this into our code. You said bottom, yeah? Okay, so in our code, you'll notice that we have all these Livre ratings, then we have a grid, and then this fab, and blah, blah, blah. So this stuff down here is actually the checkbox down here. So
Actually, we should do it on the top. I changed my mind.
okay, sure. At the very top or under the book name?
Under the book name.
Okay. Let's put it here, yeah?
Yeah, for some reason, it being a switch made me should go to the top.
Okay. All right, so let me import these things for you. To do that, control space, and then the switch, control space. And now the value of whether or not this is checked is going to be our red parameter. So you can just type red there. Right here.
Oh, yes. What's with the B? Do I put the B back?
No, just delete that. That's because in the documentation over here, they had several controls: secondary, primary, uncontrolled, disabled. So each one of those had a different label name. One was checked A, one was checked B, and then so on. Yeah. We don't have a state thingy here, so it's just red. All right. And on change, we need to call this handle change. What is this handle change? Ugh. Okay. Let's comment that out for a sec. This is the name of this, I don't think matters. We can probably remove it. And let's just save that. Oh, this needs to be red. This here is the text that will be shown in the app.
Label.
Uh-oh.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Hahaha.
Okay, save that. Let's see if it works.
Save. I saved it.
You didn't save it. Try saving it again. All right, now it's saved. There is the red toggle. Tom Sawyer is not red. Now, it doesn't currently work because we commented out the on change thing, but there it is. So that's
Yay.
cool.
That's so cool.
Now, here's a fun thing that I can show you. So while the button doesn't currently work from the UI, we can control it from the server. So here's Tom Sawyer. We can add the red field. We can make it true, and it should toggle it.
Ah.
Oh!
And we can toggle it back. Boo!
Cool.
Ah, nice.
Is that cool?
I love it.
All right. Last thing to do is make it work locally. We need to be able to click it. So start by I'm gonna just talk and walk you through it rather than have you do it this time because reasons.
Yeah. You're hungry. Gotcha.
You know me too well. Okay. So what we want is to basically call a function here. And the function is going to take an event. And so I'm just going to write this in line as an arrow function. And what we basically want to do is when you change it, we want to say set red to be the value of event.target. What is it? Checked. I think that's it. Let me see.
Nice list there you got there.
And the way I figured this out for your reference is I just was reading this bit of code here. So this is this was the handle change function that this calls, and they didn't make it beginner friendly. They have this state that is complex state that has multiple things in one thing. But basically what I care about is when the button gets clicked, where is the information about the click event stored? And it's stored in this thing here, event.target.checked. Let's see if it works, I guess. Let's save it. All right, well, it's not broken, so that's a good deal. Let's open up our Firestore. So this is red is false. If I turn this to true, if I toggle it, then red should become true. So let's give that a try. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Maybe I have to refresh. I didn't do it right. Yeah, I didn't do it right. Okay. Oh, no, I did do it right. I forgot. So if you recall, the way we set this thing up is when you mark something red, it doesn't actually save the value until you click the check mark down here.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's try again. Boom. It didn't work.
Maybe refresh it again.
Nope, it's still broken. Let's see.
Oh.
Okay, I think I know what the problem is. Yeah, I remember the problem. I know what the problem is. Does anyone want to point it out?
Is it the or statement?
Nope.
I mean, the or.
Nope. Not the or statement. What or statement are you talking about?
Like at the first set red.
Nope. Anybody else want to jump in before? No, I'm too hungry. I'm sorry, audience. Okay, it goes here at 996. This payload is what we send back to the server.
Oh.
Yeah, we need to put that there too. Put it in Satch.
Oh, yeah.
So this payload is what gets sent to the server to update the value on the server.
Just red,
Yep. Save it up.
comma.
You can, if you don't put the comma, it would get put in for you automatically. Okay.
Oh.
Well, let's give this one last try. Turn it on. Save. Yay! Did you see it happen?
Yay! It went
Ah,
red.
it changed.
And check it out. The want to read list is now empty.
Because you read it. Wow, that is wonderful.
Okay. What we need now is like some sort of sad face here because you have nothing that you want to read.
I know, that's so true.
Just need like a gift of like Homer like wanting to feed his belly, like one of that.
Yeah.
Give me more books that I want to read.
Yeah. Let's do that. Okay, so next time we will do that. We will add a
Put Homer into our app.
we need something here.
Yeah.
And yeah. Okay. All right, that was a fun stream.
Yeah.
how did you folks like it, audience?
A hungry shad is an impatient shad.
I guess I'll take that as criticism. Okay.
But it's
I thought it was a
funny.
great session. Things worked.
Yeah, there were no hiccups.
Oh, there was a hiccup where I was trying to figure out how best to model this stuff. We spent a lot of time on that. That's probably not that interesting or instructive to you, Satch.
Yeah, well, there's always, things you have to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
You never know what's gonna come next.
That's part of the process too, right? Like
Yeah.
the behind the scenes.
Exactly.
As Dunn said, it's like 90% of the work is just doing this.
Yeah, it can't all be,
I'm not the only one who has said that though, right? Talk to any experienced software engineer and ask them what do they spend 90% of their time doing. And if it's not meetings, which would indicate they're no longer an engineer actually, then
I will say this course doesn't properly deal with the stages of grief. I think it's a very valuable lesson.
Oh, we should have dedicate the next session. It's like one of the
Daily occurrence. So
like how to massage your head.
Realistic coders. It'll be expectation, which is me and Rich laughing, and then reality, which is like,
no, I'm already dealing with some of that grief. Like I'm not especially fond of the model we currently have, and I need to figure we need a better one now all of a sudden because of what Satch wants to do.
hey, don't blame me, okay?
I'm not. That is not blame. It just like any other product that you're developing, new requirements come in, and it's like, oh man, what we have now is not ideal.
So then wouldn't it be better to have an idea of what the final product should be like so that you don't start off one way and then have to make changes later?
Yes.
In a
However,
perfect world.
I would actually argue that having been through the process many times, the design everything up front and try and solve it ahead of time sounds very enticing. But I believe it to be probably doesn't work very well in practice. Very few projects I think succeed in that when they start with that intent in mind. Not without becoming very expensive in the process. And the reason is that like you're always going to not foresee something. That's just fact of life. You can't know these things. And so what do you want? Do you want to invest more up front and have more to tear down because you didn't foresee something? Or do you want to just write whatever you can, whatever little you can, be as minimal as possible up front, and take, I guess the right word is be humble about what about all the things you probably don't know and that you're not going to be able to deal with, and then just accept that you have to refactor and change things. This particular situation we're in is not that bad. The only reason why it feels difficult for me is because I want to take you along for the ride. So I'm not going to like hang up this call and then sit down for 4 hours and fix everything for you, you know? But some engineer, like, that might be the thing to do, you know, like recognize that you need to pivot, recognize what you're going to change, and then agree on it with everybody and then start. But for our stream, like I'm taking you along for the ride, right? That's the whole idea here. So I can't just do that for you, which means that any changes I want to make, it's going to happen on stream. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay. I'm off to get some food.
What are you eating?
Thanks for the lesson today.
Yeah.
Thanks for the dash.
I think we have
What's for dinner, Shad? What's for dinner?
I'm going out to get some Thai food. I think
Wow.
because I knew I was going out for Thai food the whole time, I've been excited all day. So it made me extra hungry because I just kept thinking about it.
Hot take: Pad Thai is overrated. Hot take.
I think I agree with that. I don't think we're getting
Oh, nice.
Pad Thai. Well, I mean, I'm currently also on keto. And
So What are you getting?
Oh, there's this place nearby that does like sort of street food, Thai street food, and they have a lot of sort of veggie and protein dishes that will I don't have to eat. I won't have to eat any rice or noodles. I'm being keto until I visit Toronto, and then when I get to Toronto, I'm gonna eat like
Wait, when are you coming? Was this planned?
yeah, December 16th.
Oh, you are? Oh, I didn't know. Hey, great. I'm on vacation from the 17th till forever.
Okay, let's hang out.
Endless vacation.
Nice.
I would love to meet Kent as well. I've never met him in
Yep.
person.
Yep.
And yeah, let's maybe hang out. I'm planning to stay with Satch and Rickles if they'll have me for a few days, and then spend some time with the parents. Spend some
Is it
time
just
with
you, or is Niwa-chan coming too?
Niwa-chan's coming, but not for as long as me. She'll be there just for 5 days, and then I'm staying till next year.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, so she's leaving on the 21st.
Yeah, that's right.
I did not know that.
All right.
Oh, sorry.
Let's let him go so he can eat his Thai food.
I know, you keep asking questions.
Yeah, let's say bye to the
Yeah,
internet.
before you leave,
Oh yeah.
what's the Thai place?
Hold on. Let me leave the stream, and then I'll tell you. Bye,
Let's host
internet.
Yeah.
Bye, internet.